folks, it's the stereo guy. I'm going to do a quick project here. Had a request on the fiberglass. Normally we would use a wood like this, which is your MDF wood, but because of this project, I just want to grab some OSB that I had laying around. 2 6.5-inch rings. You can cut these, nothing special. They're MDF rings. Medium density fiberboard. This is not typical wood to use for speaker boxes, but for the purpose of the video that we're doing, we're just doing a demonstration. You can take us to the next level, but it gives you the basics of how this is going to work. This video was requested by Shane's Hobby Shop. He was curious as to how this would work, and I think he wants a little different video, but I don't have a car here that I can do the full extreme that he's wanting to see, but this will give him a basic of how this works, and let's get started. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to start with taking the 2 boards. As you can see, one up, one down. We're going to attach these 2 just using some everyday drywall screws. Like I said, I hate to show it this way because of the OSB, and I know a lot of the car audio guys are going to knock me, but that's not what this one's about. This was off my building where we cut out the garage. You can see there's the OSB right there. I had some scrap laying around, so I said, you know what, let's just grab that for the purpose of demonstration. It'll get the point through, but I highly recommend using either birch or MDF. That has got very good acoustical properties for audio. So guys, don't hate me for using OSB in this video. It was just simply what I had laying around, and this box will just sit around for demonstration purposes. So it's not something I'm selling to a customer. It's not something I'm putting in a vehicle that's going to get used, but it will give people a good idea of how this works and how this process works. So we're first going to start, and I'm going to have Chip go ahead and zip some screws in the back side there. I hope this is all in frame. Just get it towards the edge. Okay, and voila, you have a shelf for your house. Ta-da! Okay, let's see if we're still in frame. All right, looks pretty good. So, we're just going to do a ported fiberglass box. So, I'm going to be cutting another area over here to do the port, and we're going to install these 2 rings where they need to go, and it'll give you guys a real good idea of how this works. Okay, we're back, folks. Right now what we've done is we've cut 2 45-degree 2x4s, same length. And what you're going to do is you're going to pre-drill a hole and attach these into this. Then later you can come in and pull that screw out once the fiberglass resin's holding everything in place, and this 2x4 will come up and out that hole. So in just 1 second here, let's pre-drill these right there. Okay. What we've got here is you can see where we're pre-drilled. That'll screw into that, and that'll hold that one. There's a lot of other ways to do this. This is just kind of the quickest. And for the sake of showing you how something's done, I figured this would be a good way to just show people a quick way on how it's done, and then they can learn from there and take it to the next level. This will give you the basics. Give you the basics of how we do this. Okay, now we're going to attach that. We'll go ahead and put that screw through just a little bit, and then once we know where we're at, we'll line it up with the hole, make sure everything's good, and Okay. Well, that holds that ring onto that very firmly. You can straighten the ring out if you need to. It can slide once you've got it even in the center. Then what we'll do, I'll walk back here where you can kind of get an idea. I find personally for wrapping that having this stick out over this edge and this above this edge works best. It makes wrapping a little easier. If I were going to do a normal seal box, like let's say like this, I would actually have a template on the bottom so that I know this side is exactly in the same spot on this side. But for the sake of this box, we're actually going to have a port on this side. So there's other ways to do this, and I'll be showing you some of those other ways in future videos. This was just a kind of surprisingly quick request. So, and all I'm doing is playing with my angles to make sure that this is where I want it. Let me make sure we get in the camera a little bit better. There we go. Okay, you can play with these angles and how you want them to come out. As a matter of fact, just by doing that, I found something I like a little better, which is the same thing as putting it here, but I don't get that visual. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Chip come in with 2 screws through the back. He's going to put his first one in there. Okay, and then I'm going to get everything leveled out where I want it. Give me just a second here to grab my triangle. I'm going to come across this way. Looks good. Maybe come over here this way just a bit. And go ahead and put that one in. Okay. That one is now tied into the box. As you see, when I flip this around, it's really the same thing we're doing. It just puts everything on the opposite side. But for the sake of our job, it's a lot easier to work from the back side. So I'll get this set up and we'll be right back to you folks. Now, I did say I was going to port this one, so that changes up one thing. I've got to cut one more board. And when you put a port into a box, the biggest mistake I see is that people think, oh, yeah, I just drill a hole in my box and it's ported. Not really. There's a lot of math to this and science. I've done some pre-calculations for the port that I'm going to need. So I'm going to go ahead and get that installed, and you'll get to see all this before it gets wrapped, and we'll be back. Hey folks, it's the stereo guy back. We framed her up. Everything's just loosely put here. Well, not loosely, I mean it's tightened up. Do not use this wood. I cannot say that enough. You know, I'm really just doing a quick demonstration for somebody that wanted to see it. So what it is this is all about shapes. And this is what you will see when you're going through our videos and you see these really cool looking boxes. This is what it starts out with. I mean, it'll have the real deal wood. This over here, that's to your left is OSB, to your right is MDF. It's the same stuff that we use here on the rings, which is a much less porous material than, you know, that right there. Just very porous, very poor quality wood. That's what they use for subfloors. But if you ever do this, you're going to want to do it all out of this material right here, which is called MDF. Or birch. I definitely recommend birch, but sometimes that's not going to fit in someone's budget. So, doing a video, Shane Cole said he'd like to see this and maybe how the process works. So just doing some angles, giving you some idea of, you know, how things are literally just kind of slapped together. We got about 10 minutes in slapping this thing together, and sometimes by the 5-gallon drums. But you're going to find the resins that you typically buy locally, you have to mix with a hardener. This is not that type of resin, so don't think I forgot to put the hardener in it. But it's kind of a bluish color, teal green. I don't want to get too close to my camera with this stuff. So, pretty straightforward from here. Pour and spread, pour and spread. Want to get your fabric saturated very well with this. I like to do it around my staples first. Ain't nothing fun about this part. This is just getting it on there. It's not so bad once you got your first coat on. A lot of this resin is going to soak up into the fabric. If you have any bubbles or thick areas, you want to wipe those down. You come around these rings. You don't have to do this whole part right here. You just about an inch overlap where the ring's at. So about right in that area. Definitely work in a ventilated space. You can get a low VOC version of this, low VOC. That's chemicals. State of California requires low VOC resins. This company does offer this in a low VOC. A little bit of a price difference, but you know, for the safety, you know, I don't work with high VOC stuff myself. 2 testicles is enough, people. I don't need a third one. And some of this stuff will make you grow a third one. So be very careful when you're dealing with these chemicals. A lot of people are going to say you should be wearing a respirator. And I would say, you know, well, here's my excuse, but you know what? There is no excuse for that. There's no excuse around safety. Get your respirator. If you're going to be doing this often, you definitely want one. This stage is not near as bad as the sanding stage. The sanding stage is when it gets really bad because the particles that are thrown in the air will actually go up into your nasal cavity and stuff like that, and they sit there, and that's what makes them more dangerous. They're not like the fumes that just dissipate and eventually go to nothing. They will actually sit there and keep attacking your respiratory system and your central nervous system. So you just have to be careful with this stuff, folks, and use it very, very responsible. Okay, folks, about to finish her off. This will be first coat of resin. Usually, I will not have to hit this with the second coat. Ever since I've switched over to the UV types, I'm able to get my job done. Then I'll have Chip take this thing right outside and let the UV start doing its job. It's gonna take a little longer today. Like I said, we got an overcast out there, but sunlight don't mean UV light. That can happen even with clouds. Because the sun does shine through the clouds. We may not see a big shiny patch on the ground, but does not mean that it's not there, so. As a white pasty redhead, I've been burned enough to know it don't take much sun to do this stuff. And just looking for any dry spots, dry patches, or maybe my resin's a little thin. Feeling pretty confident. This is just going to take the one coat. I may see something later where I got to come back over and do a tapered edge, which I know the back show you. This is about 10 minutes later. I got busy, and as you can see, it's set up, starting to cut out. Just a little place to show you where the subs get cut out. Speakers, subwoofers, depends on what you're using. We're using subwoofers in this. Again, this is just a little demonstration. It won't be sold to no customers. I'll just, after it gets cleaned up and painted, I'll take it upstairs, lay it on the showroom floor so people actually get to see this work in person. And we're gonna have to remove the 2 screws that we did in the previous video. They're located right here. Get those out of there. When this first starts rubberizing, is a good time to cut this because you'll be able to actually cut it along the ring. I waited too long, 10 minutes, boom, come out here, and it's like Viagra took a hold of it. So, but we'll get back to you. Hey folks, sorry about that. Didn't have my mic on. You seen what I did there, and I'll still run the video so you see it. I was talking my head off, but the bearing on the router follows this wood, and it's called a flush trim router bit. It followed the wood and cut these holes out perfect. You've got a solid surface, still soft. It's weak. That's what the fiberglass does. It comes in, we get it real strong, then we'll cut our port out, and we'll go from there. But there's your shape, solidified. And that's it, folks. Let's get some fiberglass on there and we'll be back. Hey folks, it's the stereo guy. We've got the fiberglass. I want to show you this before I start this. You get 2 types of fiberglass. There's tons of types, but this is the typical types we use in this business. These both do the same thing. They'll harden up and become solid as a brick. This is your mat and this is your cloth. Cloth is typically used for a start or finish or molds. This is what you want to use to get your strength. It's a lot thicker. It's going to give you a lot more strength a lot quicker than this will. But when you get to the end, you can use a cloth over top of a mat and it'll make your finish work a lot easier to do. Sample taste of up close. That's your mat. And that's your cloth. Cloth kind of feels like silk. Don't mistake it. All this stuff's dangerous. You start cutting this up, the fibers are in the air. And you turn out the light and shine a flashlight in the air, you'll see the fibers are everywhere. So make sure you're wearing a mask when you're messing with this stuff here. Hey folks, got resin on my hands. I'm gonna be careful with what I show here. It's mainly just because I don't want to touch the camera. Let me try to grab the tripod. We're starting to put the fiberglass on now. This is the first stage, or first layer. And these light spots, that's where air's underneath. I have to use a roller to get across this, to get that air out and push the resin to the top. But even with this first layer, this thing will be strong as stone. Hey folks, another quick idea. Well, this will start to bubble up when you're back here when you first put your resin on. Use a multi-tool, Rockwell. Good little tools if you buy the right series. I had a lot of DeWalt's go out on me, so I grabbed one of these one day at my local hardware store and I was kind of impressed. 2 years later, I own 3 of them. They all hold up. So, but you'll come across and cut this with the multi-tool, and then you can cut either way with this thing. So if it's hard material, I'll cut with it. And if it's a little softer material, I'll cut towards it like that. And you don't have to push this blade in. You just kind of guide it and it cuts. All right, folks, now we're at the stage where you test it for strength. Pull this camera up off here. What we're looking for is whenever we go to push in, you're looking for any give, and as you can see, I'm not getting none. That'll break my knuckles before anything happens. So this is just rough stage. Looks pretty, then ugly, then pretty again. Next, we'll start with all of our body fillers. That'll fill in these dips and even all this out. I personally find that to be the most aggravating stage. That's the stage where you start to get your results, but this just being a demo box for YouTube and for the customers walk through the door and see a fiberglass piece on the floor. Obviously, I'm going to put as much time as I can so that when I put a paint finish on this, it looks good, but then I'm not worried structurally because this is not a product that we're putting out for sale. This is just something for the customers to see and something for a friend that requested. He wanted to know how this process worked, and I hope you're liking it so far. Actual work time in this right now, because the type of resin I use, I'm able to speed it up quite a bit. I probably have 2 hours in this box. Hour and a half, 2 hours. So 2 coats of fiberglass, that's 2 ounces, so 4 ounces total fiberglass. Okay folks, got the body filler mixed up. We're gonna come in on some spots, start getting some smooth. You skim your speakers. I'm feeling a lot of the pinhole and small stuff that you can't see hardly. So you'll just see me kind of wreck that. I don't really have to worry too much because I get the shape I want and sand it off. These dark spots are low, so that's just part of doing your first layer. Starting to set up on me, so just smoothing out what I can. Trying to take off any really hot spots. So we've gone from fabric to this stage here, so now you're starting to see this gets smoother and smoother with each coat. Okay, next we're going to be cutting out this port before I get any further into. I've done 2 stages of body filler. You know, it's pretty rough right in here, but I knew ahead of time that this area was getting cut out. So, but I'm going to use this tool that I talked about earlier in the video. It's a multi-tool, and it's a Rockwell Shop Series. It's a few pounds, it's heavy. Okay folks, what I'm working on now, my router, this is actually, don't confuse it with a flush tip. This is a 1/16 inch bite. This bearing is a little smaller, so I can come in and write on the surface of something. Let's try to get the light on that. But see how it leaves me that lip? That's because it's biting in, but I need a lip to write on. I'll use a little cheap tool from Harbor Freight. Come in, it's like a Dremel, about 15 bucks. I can buy 5 of these for the price of 1 Dremel. And I would say 5 would outlast 1 Dremel, but the case has been 1 has actually outlasted 2 Dremels. So don't judge a man by his tools. It's how good he does work, and I see a lot of these YouTubers that do have some really nice tools, and when you come into our shop, you see a lot of Pittsburgh. That is a Harbor Freight brand. And love their sockets, love their hand tools, not gonna knock them. These are 15 bucks. I go anywhere else and it costs me a fortune, so. I do have the snap-on. This little set right here, I think 8 wrenches comes in at $390. Cobalt set, made in the USA. Lowe's, complete set, $69. Even has a pivoting head on it. So when you consider all that, I don't know, I find it hard to pay the price for some of these tools. You also find a lot of unique tools at Harbor Freight, so check them out. They are what they are. don't put a lot of money into their electric tools, but for the most part, all their hand tools are going to do. This is a mean little sub. It's funny, subs are getting so tiny and doing so much amount of base. It's just incredible. So I've just got to do a little sanding, get that lip out. This sub will fit right down in there. So once I got that done, I'll finish up the body work. I've also opened up the port. Time to get that port done. I got to do some body work in there to make it look good. That's my fault. If I'd have used the MDF wood at the beginning of the video, like I explained, I wouldn't have to do the body work over that, but this is just a showpiece for the shop. You just stick it out, it's going to look good. I may play it. It is ported and tuned to the correct frequencies, so I may play it for customers, but this won't never go in a customer's car. This is just a showpiece.
Alright folks, at this point we've got primer, first coat. There's just some light scratches in there. That all goes away whenever you get to the final stage. But this is your first coat of primer on the box. Sanding off some stuff. You're gonna have stuff like this that you fill in. So, but as you can see, the box has come a long ways. And we're gonna do a little different paint job, I think. So. You're gonna have pinholes and stuff that you gotta fill in. You'll get this nice and scuffed up, sanded down, and then you'll hit it with another coat of primer. We'll do videos in the future on the paint. Take care of the paint by Thomas, show you how this works. Thomas does an awesome job with a lot of his paints. So we've used him for years. But it just gives you a quick overview of what it looks like. Did you get me a Lazy Susan? Right now I'm using a Lazy Lewis. Oh, no, wrong thing, right there.
All right, it's under primer. Got one base coat on it. Just to give you an idea what this thing looks like. Move it around so you see it in the light. We'll do some marbleizing effects and then clear coat it. But this is about a 4-hour project right here. Marbleizing, clear coat, everything, about 6 hours work time. How much time you want to put into shaping it is up to you. This was a demonstration for the channel to show you what we're going to be bringing. There's going to be a lot of woodworking, speaker boxes. I've actually got kind of a strange project coming up. Everybody's doing planter boxes, and I build these unique planter boxes, so look forward to that video. If you've enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. We'd appreciate it. And we look forward to showing you more advanced fiberglass techniques. This was just a basic to get the channel started. I'd like to thank my friends that helped me out on getting this done.
Like, comment, share. Like, comment, share.
Like and subscribe?
Like, comment, share.
Like and subscribe?
Like, comment, share.
Like and subscribe.
Like, comment, share.
Please retweet.